Home favorites last week in Week 3 of the college football season, going 22-14 against the spread. The road chalks, 11-6 versus the odds makers. Bottom line is this, guys. So far, if you've been betting the favorites in college football, you're on the plus side. 74-57-1 versus the odds makers. But those double-digit chalks, usually money in the bank early in the season. That is not the case this year, as they are just 7 games over 500, and 5 of those double-digit favorites have lost outright. Hi, everyone. Al DeMarco here, general manager of the world's largest online sports handicapping community, and every Saturday throughout the football season, I'll be joining you right here on FoxSports.com with your free picks as I break down the games for you. In-depth analysis all the way. 3 big games to talk about today. West Virginia traveling to Death Valley to take on LSU. You've got Stanford and Notre Dame in South Bend, and in an SEC showdown between 2 0-2 teams in conference play, Georgia taking on Mississippi State in Starkville. Let's get going, first of all, with your West Virginia game. Listen, the Mountaineers certainly didn't look that good a couple of weeks ago when they struggled and needed to rally for an overtime win against Marshall, but this is a team that has a pedigree on the road getting points. 6-1 versus the odds makers as a road dog since 2005. Very underrated quarterback in Geno Smith, who so far this season has completed 70% of his passes, 7 touchdowns, just 1 interception so far. Noel Devine, their outstanding running back, averaging nearly 5 yards a carry through the season's first 3 games, taking on an LSU team that last week, and I say this to you all the time, final scores are so deceiving, you have to look at the box score to truly get a sense of how a game played out. LSU last Saturday beat Mississippi State 29-7, but it was more a case of Mississippi State giving the game away. 5 turnovers in that contest. Their quarterback, Jefferson, still struggling, averaging just 115 yards a game passing, averaging just 58% of his completions this season. And remember, he is going to face a very tricky West Virginia defense. They play that 3-3-5 zone. The good news for the Tigers, they can run the ball, among the best in the country, averaging 4.9 yards per carry. In this case, I see 2 evenly matched teams. LSU doesn't deserve to be that big of a home favorite. Remember, this is an LSU team against North Carolina in its opener, a depleted North Carolina team that was playing without 9 starters who were suspended, had to fight off the Tar Heels' late comeback bid. In this game, I say take the points. So even though the favorites are 74-57-1 against the spread so far this year, in this particular case, I say grab the points, whatever you can get with West Virginia. And as I always advise you, you play favorites early, you play underdogs late, because generally the public always inclined to go with the chalks. You will get more value waiting till the last minute as kickoff approaches to take the points with the dog in this one, because again, everyone is going to be looking at LSU and seeing victory against Mississippi State by a double-digit margin, victory against North Carolina at home. I'm telling you, West Virginia is the play in that one. And by the way, guys, coming into the weekend, 4-0-1 with my college football plays over the past 2 weeks. And of course, I am seeking my 9th straight winning college and pro football season. Today, 3 more selections for you, 3 more big plays, and you can get them right now online. Next game I'm going to be taking a look at is your contest between Stanford and Notre Dame. Last Saturday, you may recall, I went with the Stanford Cardinal as one of your free picks, and they absolutely destroyed Wake Forest at home by a couple of 100 points. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but it was a blowout from start to finish, but it was also a revenge game for the Cardinal as well. This week, they're traveling. They're laying the points on the road. Remember what I told you in terms of how favorites have performed. Road favorites last week, 11-6-1 against the spread. Road favorites on the season in college football coming into the weekend, 20 wins, 14 losses, and a push. Well, Stanford last year rallied in the fourth quarter at home to snap a 7-game straight-up losing streak in this series, beating the Irish 45-38. Regular followers of me, you know I have gone against the Irish every single game this season. Now, last week, I happened to buy the half point when they were playing at Michigan State. I was on the Spartans. I brought that game down from 3.5 to 3. So when Michigan State prevailed by 3 in overtime, I walked away with a push. The week earlier, I told you all that Michigan would beat Notre Dame in South Bend. The Wolverines did. And in week number 1, it was was pretty much a push 'em a game type of affair as Purdue and Notre Dame battled. Purdue, not a very good team, and Notre Dame barely got there, winning that game by 11. Listen, Notre Dame has dominated this series. They've won 3 in a row. They've covered 7 of the last 9. They've won 3 in a row versus the odds makers and covered 7 of the last 9 in the series. And the home team has been on quite a roll, winning 7 straight games in this series. But keep this in mind about the Irish. They are 9-21 against the spread in their last 30 games in South Bend. 9-21 against the spread. I say in this particular case, I think that you're still getting value, even though Stanford is laying the few points here on the road, about 4 to 4.5, depending on where you're booking this one. I still think you're getting value because people put too much into Notre Dame. They're one of those public teams. It's the Brian Kelly factor. I'm going to go against them again. I don't think they'll be able to stop the run. I'm not impressed with their defense. And this Stanford team, even though they lost Toby Gerhart to the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL draft, they still run the ball, and they still have luck at quarterback. So Stanford minus the points. Your road chalk is going to be that free pick. And the final free pick for Saturday is going to be your Georgia-Mississippi State game. Now, Georgia off to an 0-2 SEC start, but look at who they played. They went to Columbia, South Carolina, lost to South Carolina. Then last week at home, lost to Arkansas. These are 2 of the top teams in the SEC. They have absolutely owned Mississippi State. They have won 9 consecutive games straight up in the series, dating back to 1974. Their quarterback, Murray, inexperienced, some will say. I say he's played exceptionally well against 2 top-notch teams. Already has thrown for 445 yards this year against South Carolina and Arkansas. Just 1 interception in those 2 games. True. I will acknowledge the fact that the Bulldogs are 8-16 against the spread in their last 24 games. And I'll also acknowledge that they're 4-7-1 against the spread in their last 12 SEC road games. But I see nothing here in this virtual pick'em game to support Mississippi State. A Mississippi State team, as I told you earlier when discussing the LSU contest, turned the ball over 5 times in that 29-7 loss. A team that didn't really show you anything in that nationally televised game a couple of weeks ago against Auburn at home. Couldn't mount anything offensively. Still going with that rotating quarterback system. I'm not a fan of it. I think Georgia, by far the more talented team. And guys, Mark Reck, the Georgia coach, he is on the hot seat. They better win this game or else his exit is going to be definitely forthcoming out of Athens. I say Georgia is to play. It's probably one of the wackiest lines on today's card, and I'd go with the Bulldogs. And again, as for me, these are free selections. These are what I call the best of the worst. These are games I almost came close to wagering on myself, almost came close to releasing to my paying customers. But that for one reason or another, they just didn't quite make the grade. My 3 best bets today are available right now. 4-0 college football sweep coming into the weekend over the past 2 weeks. Get them now right here on the website. Good luck, everybody. And remember, Sundays here on Fox Sports, you're going to be able to catch our weekly television show with my partner and CEO of this company, Steve Budin, as we break down all of your NFL games. And you'll also catch me every single Monday as I break down your Monday night game this week, a good one, NFC North Showdown, Packers and Bears. Catch you later, everyone.